So it's kind of interesting to see that things have come full circle to the point where they were last year. Now, it's not in the emotional sense of I'm a mess and everything's not working. It's more the sense of where I physically am right now. You know, around this time last year, I had the same exact setup, green screen tent behind me in my fraternity house, speaking into a microphone with very, very poor video quality because there's absolutely no lighting to this room. Okay, now before I go any further with this video, I should probably just go through introductions. So hey guys, my name's Ben, or Benjamin. Most of you watching this know me as BetaEtaDelota, BeetleEatleDeedle, or any other iteration of that name, and some of you may know me as this guy, the life jacket wearing wolf dragon. He does pull off that life jacket pretty well. I don't know why you guys miss the life jacket character stills. I guess it's sort of fitting. So as you can tell, this video is going to be very different from what I normally do. Some of you who have been here for more than a while know that I've done this type of video before. I think the last time I did something like this was from the Anthrocon experience video, and even before that, it was probably the A&E experience video. But just so you know, none of this video is scripted at all. I'm kind of just doing this on a whim, which really isn't like me. I'm just going straight off my thoughts with whatever comes next in the conversational topic. There's not going to be any, and today we'll be talking about some furry things. You can really sense the change in tone between those two. All this video is going to be is just casual conversation about a very important anniversary, at least to me. So for everyone that doesn't know, today is a very special day for me, because 1 year ago today, February 24th, 2018, I decided to join the Furry Fandom. This day last year was when I realized how amazing of a community this is. It was the day after I had just experienced my first furry convention and through New England. It was the day after I got my first fursuit hugs from Majira, and it was the day I realized I wanted to be a part of it. Even though I didn't realize it at the time, that was probably one of the biggest and best decisions of my life. For me, in some sense, it was the first day of the rest of my life, because everything changed for me mentally and emotionally at that point. Now, if you went back a year ago, to the me before I went to Anthro New England, the me before I even decided I wanted to be a furry. If you went back and told him about all that I had done now, that a year from now he would be friends with so many people that he looked up to at the time, that a year from now he would pretty much triple the amount of people that watch his content, that a year from now he would have people running up to him in tears, happy to see him and wanting to get a hug and picture from him at a convention all the way in Chicago, that a year from now he would have been able to fursuit as Menorah at Anthrocon, and that a year from now he would eventually be bringing his Fursona to life, and that he would eventually be able to do YouTube full-time by the time he graduates. If you told all this to my past self, he would have laughed at you and probably walked off to do God knows what. This past 12 months for me has been filled with so much self-reflection. That's really what it's been about. More than just experiencing what I experienced, it was about understanding me. It was trying to figure out who is BetaEtaDelota, or who is Ben? Who is this guy who's going off to get a degree in mechanical engineering? What does he really want out of his life? What does he want to do? What can he change about himself where he can wake up every single day and feel accomplished and feel happy? That's what a far majority of 2018 was for me. And after 1 year of trying to understand myself and experiencing the furry fandom the way I did, I think I've found who I want to be, who I am now. Okay, we're kind of getting off topic, even though we really aren't, because the focus I wanted to put into this video was about self-reflection. You know, what was the difference between me from last year and me from this year? What changed so drastically in the span of a year? And it's a lot, I'll tell you that. I want to talk about how being in such a vulnerable state that I was last year kind of turned me into who I am now. And I'm hoping that my experiences in some sense will kind of help you understand who you are. Now, I know it's kind of a fact that a lot of you look up to me. Some of you see me as a role model in the furry fandom, or just a role model in general on YouTube. Some of you adore the personality that I portray online. I know all of that for a fact. I don't want this to be egotistical in the slightest. I don't like talking about me as such a great person. But even though some of you guys might unintentionally put me above others as like an individual or who I am, but I kind of realize that despite all that I might be now, I really am a lot more similar to most of you guys than you think. I did go to my first convention and walked around alone. For 4 hours, I walked alone by myself in a circle. You know, I've been extremely socially anxious, and I still am now. I sometimes even get scared to go up and say hi to my friends. I worry about what everyone thinks about me. I don't want to look awkward or weird and completely ruin the mood or the conversation. I believe I'm relatable in that sense, despite people and my roommate considering me a poppy fur, which I'm really not. Even still, I wasn't always a role model, and even with that, I wasn't always a great person. As a few of you who have been here for a while know, a lot changed in a year, especially between 2017 and 2018. I was a completely different person back when I made this video, and all the videos preceding during that year, I had a really bad mentality. I know people want me to be family friendly in my videos, but just this once, I will admit that I was an asshole, and even now, I fully accept the consequences that came from my actions during that year. Well, I guess it might not have been all that bad since I did end up here, which I really wouldn't want it any other way. I really do love it here. So for context, does anyone remember this video? For those that don't, it's a recap of me experiencing my very very first furry convention. Actually, most of you know it, and you can probably go and look it up on my channel, but the video itself talked about what I had experienced at A&E that year and how it sort of changed me. Going to that convention and experiencing what I did was definitely a turning point in my life, where the soft, emotional, huggy sort of BetaEtaDelota that you know now kind of just opened up. But in that video, there are some things that I didn't exactly mention, especially about what had happened before the convention, which is why around this time it's hard for me. Around this time last year, I was in a really, really dark place. I had first begun to realize how terrible of a person I was in 2017. That was sort of the moment where it hit me. I had lost a lot of my friends at the time. I didn't really have anyone to turn to get the help I needed, and I had the weight of my world all on my shoulders. It was probably one of the toughest weeks of my life. I will not lie. But it was mainly because I was on my own. I really didn't have a community that I belonged to. I will openly admit that at the time I had no reason to keep going. And I do regret feeling that way because if I had taken anything into action, none of this now would have happened. I would have never experienced what I did. But all those emotions changed after I decided one thing. Back when I was feeling down, depressed, and all this, I decided I'd had enough. Because all that time I had been sacrificing myself for my fraternity, my schoolwork, for other things that I didn't really care about. I didn't do anything for me. That's why I decided the Friday night before I went to Anthony, New England, that I was going to enjoy the hell out of it. And at that moment there, I had made the best decision of my life. Because what I experienced there truly turned my life around for the better. And it genuinely brought me out of that low point. You know, despite walking around alone at a convention for hours, really having nothing exciting happen, kind of feeling like I had made a mistake with going eventually, being socially awkward to the point where I couldn't say hi to the people that I actually knew, everything kind of changed when it was shown genuine kindness from people that I didn't expect. Whether it had been just the kindness that Mitch showed me, or it had been the hug from Majira, that had changed everything for me. It made me realize that I'd found a community that wanted me for me. Who knew that a hug from Majira could do so much to the heart? But most of this was talked about in my A&E video, so go and check that out if you haven't already. So yeah, even though I got some severe PCD last year, it was well worth it. I guess the main reason why I got it so bad last year as well was because I had realized I had missed out on all of this for so long, and I didn't know when I was going to experience it again. There were no clear-cut plans for when I was going to see Majira again. There were no clear-cut plans for when I would get fursuit hugs again. Genuinely though, I finally had something that made me happy. I found people who genuinely cared for me. I had finally found some place where I felt welcome, and that's where everything began. Now see, Majira had dropkicked me into the furry fandom. There's no doubt about that. You know, you have the endless pit and I'm falling into it. And all I had to do from there was find a gap or a ledge for me to stand on, to hold on to, and make my mark. It took about a month for me to pick up where I left off with the fandom due to school and complications with everything else. But it kind of all kicked off when I made the 7 levels of being a furry part 2. That's where I kind of decided I wanted to take YouTube and the furry fandom seriously. And that's where the year really started for me. The whole summer from there was a blur. Like if you ask me what I specifically did this summer, I would have had no clue. Because a lot happened within the span of like 12 weeks. The biggest thing for me though is that the YouTube grind was real. Like I grinded and grinded out videos each and every week. And it really means a lot to me to see the outturn that actually happened. Because if you know from before when I was doing YouTube in early 2018, I kind of made the constant joke that my channel was dying. Which it really was going nowhere. I was kind of stuck at 25k subs. But then I decided I wanted to make something of myself. And I did what I did this summer. And it wasn't for the matter that I wanted to grow. It was for the matter that I wanted to make videos on topics that I really enjoyed. And I finally found something that I'm happy with. Eventually, several events happened after that, like meeting Mitch, trying on a fursuit head for the first time, going to my first full convention, and eventually fursuiting as the Menorah. And it's just that every time I look back on what happened this last summer, it feels like anything that I could have possibly wanted that summer to happen had happened, and I wouldn't have wanted it any other way. For the first time in a long time, I was genuinely happy. You know, at the time, happiness was getting an A in a class. Happiness was getting to hang out during the weekend, but I had finally found me and what truly makes me happy. And the stuff that I experienced this summer was proof of it. I mean, to go even further, like this last fall, I experienced fursuit snuggles for the first time. I don't think anyone realizes what that moment was like for me. I finally found what it was like to be embraced and shown affection. Something I hadn't experienced in over a decade. And that's not a joke. This actually is something that did bother me. And I'm really glad that I got to experience that. It was absolutely everything I wanted and more. I know I'm jumping in between several events, and this is kind of a mesh of things, but it's just kind of to give you the idea that I never did this a year ago. In 2017, I never went off to conventions. In 2017, I wasn't a great person. And here I am now having the memories to cherish. Here I am now thinking, wow, my first full year in the furry fandom. I haven't done this much at all. I haven't experienced this much for any of my other years in my life. And it really kind of scares me to think that if I hadn't gone to A&E, I wouldn't be here right now. And as much as that does scare me, it really makes me grateful for everything that I experienced. It makes me cherish the people that I have in my life now, because back then I didn't have that. I feel like this is more of a look back, like looking back to how far I've come in 1 year, in which I've improved mentally, emotionally, socially, physically. It was all because I decided I wanted to be happy. This is kind of why now, especially with YouTube and what I do on here, that's why I know that what I want to do is I want to make people happy. I want to entertain. I not only want to inform, but I mainly want people to say, that video made me happier. Because I don't want people to be in the situation that I was more than a year ago. I don't want people to repeat my mistakes. I want people to be happy, especially those that watch me, especially you guys, my friends. On a separate note though, I've kind of gotten a lot of comments recently about people that miss the old me, about people who have seen my old videos and miss what I had produced in 2017, that I didn't give a damn about what I said. But at the same time, even though I do get those comments, I always manage to reminisce and look at the comments that I receive from my close friends now, who commented on the emotional videos I've done in the past and said like, this is more like you. You should make videos more like this because it's more you than anything. What I definitely realized over the span of 2018 is that I had kind of put away a part of myself back in 2017 with the personality, the person that I was. I'd put away a part of myself that I was kind of afraid to show. The sweet guy that loved hugs, that loved to cuddle his friends, that was able to open up emotionally and cry. I put that all away because I thought that people didn't want to see that. I was originally comparing my situation at the time to a quote that I saw back during like my junior year in high school in a video, and I think it was an animated video by VivziePop. It was the Kesha one. Wasn't it like Die Young or something? I can't remember. The point is, at the very end of the video, there was like 1 second where a little quote came up from Kesha called, "Be yourself unapologetically." And I've thought of that quote over the span of my life. Back in 2017, I thought, oh, you know, be yourself unapologetically. I want to be honest. I want to be open. Speak my voice. Say what I need to say. But after experiencing the fandom and seeing what it was and reminding myself of the part of me that I put behind and kind of hid, I took that quote into a different meaning. I kind of saw it as, instead of talking towards me, it was talking about me, that I should express myself without fear, that I should be who I am. And as I started to get more involved in the fandom, I started to show that. And here we are now. I can wholeheartedly say that I'm the person that I really should be today. I'm the person that was kind of put away to the side for the sake of being tough and being manly and all this stuff. I know I'm speaking nonsense at this point, but the honest to God point is that I've found who I am. And if it weren't for the fandom, I wouldn't be here now. I wouldn't be the person you see now. I guess the point I want to emphasize now is that even though over the span of this year we've achieved much, I've changed a lot, I guess I want to thank you guys for that. Not only the people that have stuck by me through that time since 2017, who've seen the change and have still supported me endlessly, but also the people who have contributed to the change, who've helped me through my issues in the past and have been there for me needlessly. I technically have everyone to thank. Anyone who's had an impact on my life up to this point. So not only is this a time of self-reflection, but it's a time of understanding who exactly helped. And there are way too many people to name. Even though I'm only really speaking my mind, I don't have a script for this video, I guess all I can say now is thank you. I want to thank the entirety of the furry fandom for the people that have existed to make it happen. My life is so much better than I could have possibly imagined it because of this community's existence. I wouldn't want anything to have gone any other way, and I'm extremely grateful for everyone. I'm glad that I got to experience what I did, and I'm glad that I made it out of the dark time in my life. You know, last year when I made that A&E video, I kind of promised myself that sometime next year, I was going to make a video like that in the situation I am in now. And you know, I'm kind of thinking for next year, I do want to make a follow-up video for this one. Even though it'll be my 2nd anniversary, I know a lot will have happened. And, well, one thing, I definitely want to make this video in fursuit. So even though I don't have wine or anything, or any sort of drink to cheers, besides this half-drunken cup of coffee, I wanted to give a little toast to a full year of bigger changes, of bigger and better experiences than last year, and to eventually bringing Maverick to life, to the well-being and health of my friends, and to making 2019 as great as I possibly can make it, or as great as we can possibly make it. So, cheers. That's as close as we're getting. So that pretty much wraps up this video. Apologies for it being very long. I can already see this video being around 20 minutes. I also want to thank my editors Lyrroth and Hlym for helping me edit these videos so far. I'm glad that I got to know and meet them, so I want you to go and check them out if you haven't already. They're fantastic editors. I'd highly recommend commissioning them. But still, thank you guys for such an amazing 2018. I know I should have technically made a New Year's video, but honestly, my year didn't really start till like this point, and I'm genuinely grateful for everything that has happened, and I'm excited for what's going to happen. So thank you guys for watching. I greatly appreciate all the support you gave me last year, and I'm really looking forward to what I can bring you guys this year. And honestly, I think I'm going to hit 100k this year. I have no doubt in my mind that we are going to do it. My biggest dream for YouTube is going to happen in 2019, and that is so exciting to think about. I'm really excited to bring you guys what I can this year. I have so many plans for what I want to do. Let's just keep things the way they're going. I want to be a nice and happy role model for you guys. I want to be the gateway for the furry fandom. I want to introduce people, and I feel like we're going to do that this year. So thank you guys for watching. This is what happens when I don't have a script. I say the same thing like 3 times, and I have no clue what I'm doing at all. I guess I'll close this out like the way I always do. Have a good day, guys. And as always, stay life jacket. Take care.